into part 2 about why God came into this world, what his purpose was. Have you ever had an experience in which suddenly you were in a state of mind that you felt a peace come over you? You felt it. Or a state of mind in which suddenly there was nothing bothering you. It stayed there, and then it disappeared. And did you ever wonder, what's causing this? Why is this happening? You're recognizing that there is a state of mind which is different from the aggravated, fearful, uneasy, guilt-ridden, survival-oriented, savage human mind, that there's another you. And this you is how God made you in the first place. That it's real. It's real. And you know that this you couldn't have produced this other you of the savage, depressed nature and the attacking, survival-oriented, kill others before they killed you experience of the human mind. Two very distinct, different minds. So why is it that God has to come into this world? God comes into this world because your human mind does not reveal to you what the problem is. The human mind insists that that's the real. And we have a world in which we savage ourselves and we savage other people. I've heard it said that we're the one created species in which we kill each other, that it's not present in others. I'm not too sure of that. I got a hunch that there are other species also that do that kind of a thing. But the issue is, do you want to recognize that this is the human mind which kills people, be it with atom bombs, be it with any kind of wars, be it with the attributes of the society that we set up, that we do not care for each other in a just and kind and loving way of our oneness with each other, which is our true nature. God made us one with each other and one with God. We don't live from this. And we set up the rich and the poor, and the justification of this being because the poor are lazy or loafers, etc. The societies that we set up, we then blame on others rather than ourselves, which is that we're survival-oriented. God knows that we feel this human state as a real state, as a real one. And how is God going to be able to heal it? Well, is he going to come into the world and become the great king that is going to overthrow all the world, knock off anybody who doesn't agree with him, and claim that this is the loving state? The people who say, hey, yay, let's hear it for God, he's on our side, knocking off the others, and the other side saying the same thing about knocking off you who are having those same beliefs. There is no solution to this. God had to come up with a solution by which you recover the awareness of your true self. And it is not by producing more guilt feelings. It is not by attacking you. In fact, an attack on you will scare you to the dickens. To think that the God that you're supposed to follow is displeased with you, it's a terrifying thought. And so it cannot come from that. God had to come into the world to demonstrate to you through your senses of this human mind God's qualities. He had to come into this world and be relevant to you, that you could look at God and be able to know that God's qualities are your God, are your qualities, your godly qualities, and that God is one with you and has made you an eternal being for which there is no fear of any death, of any hardship coming to you, and that God protects you from not being able to change yourself. That what God has made you to be must exist because you do not have the power to overturn what God has created. And so you see the life led by Jesus, in which he answers these various kinds of questions, to be able to show you this ultimate truth that God's creation of you cannot be changed. God gets himself seemingly killed. But all that has happened is that God's body has been removed, and that God appears within the spirit world, in a spirit dimension. He lifts his disciples up and shows them that he has appeared, and with that kind of a setup, 50 days later, now his disciples feel God within themselves as themselves. God comes into this world to show you your godliness, to overcome the worries that indeed you have overthrown God and you have climbed upon the throne and been this ultimate being which is your bodily self. The only way you knew that there was an alternative to it, because your human mind hides that alternative, is to be able to show you God as God and God as you. Has nothing to do with penances. It has nothing to do with having revenge, or somebody must answer for this, somebody has to be the scapegoat. That is not why God came into the world. He came into the world to demonstrate God's qualities to you, and for you to find that these qualities are in you and that you cannot rid yourself of it. That this human world and its contradictions to what God's world is of yourself as angel beings, as spirit beings, as soul, this cannot be overcome. The world of the human loses out to the world of love which God is demonstrating to you. It needed to be demonstrated because you would never discover a generation after that. For how many years, zillions of years that this world has gone on and this false creation has gone on, had nothing to do with God. Nothing whatsoever to do with God, and you can't change God's creation of you. You cannot do it, because when God shows this to you, you see the qualities of yourself, that you are a loving, quiet, patient, belonging person, that you belong. You are present to God, that you are God's treasure, preciousness. God comes into this world, assumes the human dimension in order to be able to show you that the true you existing in this human dimension is not the ultimate you. The true you is the one that exists apart from this dimension. And you must see it in your God to feel safe with, and in yourself to be able to live it out. Hope that this is helpful to you.